Anybody got anything funny to say to the camera?
Mike Jones Jr.
There are some takes in this video. I'm just gonna put it out there right now.
The disclaimer, Surgeon General warning.
There's a pretty.
Welcome to my new college room. It's a bed and a desk, and that's my whole room. My clothes are outside.
Nick still goes to college. Wasn't smart enough to graduate.
They held me
got held back.
Welcome to another episode of Boom or Bust, the draft show. Max Chadwick alongside Tate, Sigworth, and Nick Merriam. This is probably our biggest episode yet for the 2022 draft season, guys, because
the big one.
It is our big board. Big board 1.0, baby. Our top 50 prospects in the 2022 NFL draft. We're heading into week one of the college football season. We've got Georgia, Clemson, Alabama, Miami, Penn State, Wisconsin. There are some massive games this weekend.
One of these is not like the other.
They're all basically setting up the national championship picture right now. So we got our top 50 prospects. We each came up with a top 50 for a consensus boom or bust, the draft show, top 50 in the 2022 NFL draft. Before we start the video, though, because this is a spicy video, some spicy takes in this video. So forewarning right there. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to follow our Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Boom or Bust Draft. We're on YouTube, anywhere you get your podcasts. Check out the merch store below, and please continue supporting us, because support for us is brought to you by that right there, that beautiful thing, Manscaped. Do you like playing with balls? No, I'm not talking about footballs. I mean your balls. Our friends at Manscaped, the global leaders in below-the-waist grooming, want you to shave your pubes with the Tom Brady of ball trimmers, the brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Only the GOAT technology for the greatest balls of all time. When you're going towards the end zone, make sure you use the right tools for the job and choose Manscaped. 2,000,003 men worldwide trust them. So join the movement with our exclusive offer by using the code BOOM or BUST. That is BOOM or BUST at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. Again, 20% off and free shipping. And use the code BOOM or BUST, all caps, no spaces, for 20% off and free shipping. Again, 20% off and free shipping. This is a steal at manscaped.com. Take your ball defense to the promised land with Manscaped. So we got our top 50, guys, our top 50 big board. How we're going to do it, we're going to count it down from 50 to 1 and talk about each guy's in the 10s range. So 50 to 41 right now. Number 50, Ainias Smith, the wide receiver from Texas A&M at 49. Kane Madden, the offensive guard, who's now at Notre Dame after transferring from Marshall. 48, Roger McCreary, the cornerback at Auburn. 47, DeMarvion Overshown, the linebacker at Texas. 46, Romeo Dubes, the wide receiver at Nevada. 45, Zion Tupuola-Fatui, the Washington edge defender. 44, Nicholas Petit-Frere from Ohio State, the tackle. 43, Keaton Slovis, the quarterback from USC. 42, George Karlaftis, the edge from Purdue. And 41, Thayer Munford, the offensive tackle from Ohio State. So, Nick, start us off. Who do you like in that 50 to 41 range?
So I've mentioned him earlier, but DeMarvion Overshown is my guy out of Texas, a linebacker who stands at about 6'4". I have his measurements right here with me. 6'4", 217 pounds. And he moves like a safety. He looks like one, but he kind of has these big shoulder pads, and he will knock guys on their you-know-whats. I was going to say the word, and I can't say it. Oh, I won't say it because I have standards on the show. But he's a guy who he'll pop you, he'll cover, he'll do a little bit of everything at linebacker position. They like to line up kind of in that Darius Leonard-Jock, slot linebacker role, but he has the ability to rove anywhere on that defense and has done a little bit of everything for Texas. Some inconsistencies, but the athleticism pops on tape, and I think his consistency has gotten better as he's gone through college. I'm expecting a big year from him, projecting him to be just an absolute monster, playing in that monster back role for Texas.
Yeah, my guy right now in this 10 that I want to talk about is Ainias Smith, number 50. Up there at 33 on my big board. I talked about him a little in the video that came out this past Sunday. Check it out. He's very much, I don't want to get too aggressive this early, but I think of all the guys that are posed right now, I think he has the ability to be the most Kadarius Toney-like of this draft class.
I like
high bar.
Take.
I know I'm
like
setting
that.
it up there. But he's very much like the Rondell Moore, Elijah Moore, Kadarius Toney, X Factor, just design him touches, get the ball in his hand, make things happen. He's a little undersized. He's not going to be an outside wide receiver at the next level, but just line him up, get him touches, and he's going to make things happen. So yeah, he's definitely a guy I'm keeping my eye on for this fall.
I like the Kadarius Toney comparison a lot because he is kind of like that, where just get the ball in his hands. Like, he's not really a true receiver, probably going to play a little bit in the backfield too. My guy, Zion Tupuola-Fatui, the guy who's got a long name, but man, he is dominant at Washington. Limited snaps at Washington, but man, as a pass rusher, he is really good, really explosive. Not really a great run defender, but where you win as an edge defender is as a pass rusher. Right now, he's 28th on my board. I have this guy in the first round right now, 6'3", 260. I like Zion Tupuola-Fatui a lot. He's going to get more snaps this year, which I'm very excited to see. So this guy can move up or down the list depending on how he plays this year. But he's going to be a guy that I'm very excited to see at the edge position, which I think is a very stacked position in this draft right now. Let's go to 40 to 31 now. At 40, Andrew Booth Jr., the cornerback from Clemson. 39, Jaquan Brisker, the safety from Penn State. 38, Knicks guy, Daniel Falele, the offensive tackle from Minnesota, and probably the biggest player in this draft, period. 37, period. He's like 380, 6'9", 380. 37, Jalen Weidermeyer, the tight end from Texas A&M. 36, Myjai Sanders, the edge from Cincinnati. 35, my guy, Grayson McCall, the quarterback from Coastal Carolina. 34, now at LSU, who was at Clemson before. 33, Zach Harrison, the edge from Ohio State. 32, Carson Strong, the Nevada quarterback. And 31, Kingsley Enagbare, the edge from South Carolina. So, Tate, who do you like in that 40 to 31 range?
I like Andrew Booth Jr. a pretty good amount. It's a lot of right now his draft stock is projection. You really haven't seen him honestly play that much. His sample size is quite smaller compared to the other guys that he's up there with, which is why Nick and Max have him ranked a bit lower than I do. I have him up at 19 and they have him down at 50. So a big discrepancy on the Andrew Booth stock. But I mean, everything you really want to see in a corner, he can do. He's a good athlete. He's got good size. He has the coverage skills. It's just that he hasn't played that much. We really haven't seen too much of him. We don't know exactly what he's going to be. So me putting him up at 19 is definitely a projection. I understand he got ejected out of a game for punching a guy with a helmet on, which, I guess you have maybe some mental concerns. But he just had all the traits and all the tools, and he's got to put it together this year on the field.
Yes, I'm going to talk about Mike Jones Jr., who we didn't bring up a whole lot last year, but he was a guy I thought might get drafted last year. He was a Clemson cover linebacker who's now come to LSU or transferred to LSU. Interesting player, and I had kind of the discussion with these guys about maybe he should be playing slot corner and not linebacker, because he's not very big, and he doesn't really play linebacker well. He is just purely a slot coverage guy, and he can play some zone, he can play some man. Very good when he lines against tight ends or running backs who get outside of the tackle box there, running routes on the perimeter. The issue is maybe he doesn't have the movement ability to be a full-time corner, so maybe you move him to safety or something. For me, he's a bit of an enigma as a prospect because I think when you draft the type of guy like this, he's the type of player that doesn't necessarily play all three downs, but his niche role that's going to work, I think, at the NFL level is going to be very valuable because not many teams can replicate it. And I'm interested to see what he does in probably it is a worse defense in LSU against some good passing offenses there in the SEC. See if it holds up. Obviously, last year, Jabril Cox had a very good year transferring to LSU as a cover linebacker. So if he can follow in those footsteps, he'll have the ability to be a high draft pick.
Real quick, just to add, he cannot tackle. I just want everybody to be aware when you watch him play. The man cannot tackle. He's one of the worst tacklers in the entire nation.
He is, and he's that, and it's also like he's the best coverage linebacker in the entire nation. It's just like this duality is crazy. So I'm going to talk about another edge defender who I have literally right below Zion Tupuola-Fatui, and that's Myjai Sanders, the Cincinnati edge defender. The first thing that you see from him is that he's 6'5", 255, freak athlete. He was number 20 on Bruce Feldman's freaks list, and he shows it on the field, man. He's such an explosive player, such a good pass rusher, an efficient pass rusher. I like Myjai Sanders a lot, and I thought he was one of the best edge defenders last year. He decided to go back to school this year. I thought he could have come out last year. He's a guy that I have at 32 right now, right in that first round range, and another one of these edge defenders that is such an athletic edge class. And we'll get to some more later on. He's another one of those, and I think he could very well be a first round pick in 2022. Let's get to 30 to 21 now. At 30, Tyke Smith, the safety / slot corner, whatever you want to call him, now at Georgia from West Virginia. 29, Drake London, the wide receiver from USC. 28, Charles Cross, the offensive tackle from Mississippi State. 27, Justin Ross, making his return, wide receiver from Clemson. The second ever video we've done here at Boomer Bust was a Justin Ross video. Never forget that. 26, Brenton Cox Jr., the edge from Florida. 25, Brandon Joseph, the safety from Northwestern. 24, Abraham Lucas, the offensive tackle from Washington State. 23, Kenyon Green, the interior offensive lineman who reportedly will play tackle this year at Texas A&M. 22, Jackson Kirkland, the offensive tackle from Washington. And another Washington player at 21, Trent McDuffie, the cornerback there. So, Tate, start us off there as well. What do you think about 30 to 21? Who do you like?
I mean, I like a lot of these guys. Brenton Cox Jr. is a guy I thought about talking on this video. I'm sure I'll talk about him more at length in a later video. But I'm going to talk mainly about Drake London, tall USC wide receiver. I thought he was 6'2". Max, right before recording, told me he's actually 6'4", 6'5", which is way bigger than I thought he was. But he really does not look it when you watch him on tape. I mean, he's clearly a big guy, but he moves really well for his size, especially after the catch. Pretty good yak guy considering he's 6'5". Good speed, like I said. He's got great hands. So, yeah, I really think, the Michael Pittman, the Amon-Ra, I'm really excited to see what he can do and kind of step into his own. And with Keaton Slovis, who, we're iffy here on the podcast, but I'm really excited to see what he can do this fall.
So my guy is going to be Tyke Smith, who was a safety at West Virginia. He's probably going to play a little more slot corner at Georgia. I think he's got an excellent build for playing safety in the NFL, that 5'10", 200-pound frame where he's got a little bit of the leverage ability because he's shorter, but he has some of that length that can help him cover. But he can, hit guys in the run game when you need to and get underneath their shoulder pads. But he is at his best, I believe, in the slot. He's a very efficient cover player. He only allowed about 4.4 yards per reception in 2020, which was almost all yak yards, honestly. Like, the guy did not let his receivers catch the ball downfield. He's a pretty good tackle, plays physical, and is especially talented at staying with receivers out of the initial break. So he does not get beat on releases very easily. And I think that coverage ability, especially where you're seeing at the NFL level right now, nowadays a lot of receivers are really just winning routes in the first two steps. They're just excellent releasers. Devontae Adams is all about the release. Like, he is the best release receiver in the NFL, and he's been the best receiver over the last season, at least, I think, because of that. Tyreek Hill, speedster guy, just gets off the line really quick. And Tyke Smith's a guy who's really handled that well in West Virginia, goes to a better team in Georgia, gives him a chance to compete better on defense. And I think he, when all is said and done, will be a very valuable, versatile piece for a secondary in the NFL.
So the guy I'm going to talk about is one of the Washington guys that we mentioned, which is the offensive tackle, Jackson Kirkland, who I right now have as OT2. I believe the top 15 player on my board. He's number 15 on my board right now. He has an argument to be the best pass protector in the entire draft. I think him and Abraham Lucas, who I like a lot, the Washington State tackle as well. I like Jackson Kirkland a lot, man. And he's a guy who kind of got screwed last year with the Pac-12 shortened season because he was a guy that could have been a first-round pick in the 2021 draft. Now he's going back to Washington for his 5th year on campus. So, of course, the age is definitely a question mark there. Not really a great run blocker, but like I said, he is an excellent pass protector, which is very valuable in the NFL. Very athletic tackle, too. I like Jackson Kirkland a lot, and he's a top 15 player on my board right now. Let's go to the top 20 now of the Boomer Bust draft board. At number 20, Aiden Hutchinson, the edge defender from Michigan. 19, George Pickens, the wide receiver from Georgia. 18, another SEC receiver, Treylon Burks, the wide receiver from Arkansas. 17, Jordan Battle, the safety from Alabama. 16, Ahmad Gardner, Sauce Gardner, the cornerback from Cincinnati. 15, Adam Anderson, the Georgia edge defender. 14, Tate's pick to win the Heisman and pick and spreads QB1 in this class, Malik Willis, the quarterback from Liberty. 13, Tyler Linderbaum, the center from Iowa. 12, Chris Olave, the wide receiver from Ohio State. And 11, your guys' guy, not quite my guy, I still like him a lot, but Matt Corral, the quarterback from Ole Miss. So, Nick, who do you like in the 20 to 11 range?
King Matt Corral. Tyler Linderbaum, we haven't talked a whole lot about him, but he might be the best center prospect we've seen, period, in the past 20 years. He's certainly the best interior offensive line prospect we've seen since Quentin Nelson. Just basically, he does everything well, except for the fact that he's a little bit small in terms of athleticism. I think he's going to be a very good athlete when he tests out, but the power and size is a little bit lacking. But he's also new to the position, and he has played so very well as a new center. He was an interior defensive lineman. He converted to center at Iowa, and he has been excellent. And now he's coming back for another year of experience. He's already been elite. We thought he was probably going to be an early second, maybe late first-round pick last year. Now the sky is the limit for this guy can get picked in the NFL draft. We haven't talked about him a whole lot, but I think in terms of like top-tier prospects, he's up there in this draft.
Yeah, another one or a couple different guys I could talk about. I'm a George Pickens train here until the ACL comes out as maybe too much to handle this year. But yeah, I'm going Adam Anderson. Talked about him a little and again in this past week's video. Same with Ainias Smith. Adam Anderson could be edge one in this class over Kayvon Thibodeau, who we're praising, and we had his own scouting report. Adam Anderson, from what we've seen, the limited thing we've seen in college, he is pretty special. 6'5", 230, so lighter, I think, than Nick Bonito, as Max pointed out to me, which is a little troublesome. Maybe you want to see him add on a little weight, but he really doesn't strike me as too skinny when I watch the tape. But yeah, he is so fast, so twitchy. He's got crazy bend, such a good athlete. And edge one, potentially, beware.
Yeah, definitely beware. I have him top 15 right now. I think Georgia's going to play him more this year, which would be good because he might be the best pass rusher in the country, which saying a lot. Yeah. And Azeez Ojulari was the best pass rusher, one of the best pass rushers last year, and he was a second-round pick who should have been probably higher. My guy who is getting dragged up this board a lot because of me is Treylon Burks, the wide receiver from Arkansas, who I have 14th right now. You guys have him at 25 and 26. I love Treylon Burks. Everyone wants to talk about Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, which we'll get to, and I like them both a lot too. But everyone thinks it's a two-horse race in Columbus for wide receiver one in 2022. I think Treylon Burks is part of that race right now. He is a freak athlete. He is 6'3", 225 pounds, and he actually lost weight from last year because he was like 230 last year. He is not only is he huge, he can run, man. He runs like a low 4.4 probably too. The comparison I had for him, and you guys might get mad at me for this, he reminds me so much of DK Metcalf, man, where it's just that size, speed combo. He's an excellent receiver. He makes plays in the SEC like DK Metcalf did. Got great hands, too. He makes some spectacular catches. Number 53 on Bruce Feldman's Freaks list, too. Freak athlete who's been really good in the SEC. I think Treylon Burks is getting slept on in this process a little bit. So let's finish it off, guys, with our top 10. So we're only going to talk about the 10 through 6, only 3 guys in there, because the other ones we actually have videos on all of them. So at number 10, Nick Bonito, the Oklahoma edge defender. At number 9, Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver from Ohio State. At number 8, DeMarvin Leal, the interior defensive lineman from Texas A&M. At 7, Kyer Elam, the corner from Florida. And at 6, Kayvon Thibodeau, not cracking the top 5 of our big board, the edge defender from Oregon. So, Tate, who do you like in the 10 through 6 range?
I mean, the most obvious one is Garrett Wilson, wide receiver, the Ohio State, just a few spots ahead of Chris Olave, who I'm sure I also will talk about I'll just make everyone's ears bleed with how much I talk about these two. Garrett Wilson, man, special athlete, just acceleration, twitchy. He's got great route running. Another one of those guys. He's definitely like a true wide receiver compared to like the X Factor guys that you kind of see and maybe just design him touches. But you could like very easily just put him on reverses, just scheme him up short touches and make him make plays. You maybe could desire a little more after the catch just in terms of like yak production, but I don't think he has like any issues in being a subpar athlete, which maybe comes with subpar yak production. But yeah, Garrett Wilson, special receiver, excellent route running, excellent hands, excellent athlete. Yes, him and Chris Olave are going to tear it up for Ohio State this year.
So we're just going to talk about the 3 guys we haven't really talked about at all in this 10 through 6 area. So I'm going to get Kyer Elam, the corner from Florida, who I'm sure we will do a video about at some point. Just an outside corner with the NFL height, length, runs in the 4.3s, necessary speed, all that stuff matters. Productive in his 1 full season in the SEC on a bad defense. He's used to playing off coverage, both man and zone. A lot of cover 3 in that Florida defense, and that is a type of scheme we haven't seen a lot of corners come out of in college for the NFL. So there are cover 3 teams that are looking for that type of corner. Reacts well, instinctive player, trusts what he sees. He's not a great tackler, but the effort and speed to create angles to make those tackles is there. I like him in deep zone. He's a little bit aggressive at times when he's sitting on like high-low concepts, for example, but in deep zone, his speed really flashes. He had some struggles against Alabama, but I personally think it was because Florida did not commit defenders to covering the deep pass. They were just giving up the deep ball all game long. They were committing 2 or 3 players. They were playing cover 3, cover 2. Can't do that against a team that literally set records throwing the ball last year. So he's had to overcome quite a bit, I think, in not the best defense at Florida, and he's shown the ability to play well, has been good in coverage throughout this, and he is ready for the NFL, I believe.
So the guy I'm going to talk about is someone that surprisingly moved up a lot on my board is Nick Bonito, the Oklahoma edge defender, who's number 7 on my big board. And at number 8 is Kayvon Thibodeau, meaning I have Nick Bonito as my top edge in 2022. Listen, man, we mentioned the size before. He's 6'3", 240 pounds. That's not good. Like the 240 is very much below the average, which is 266 for an edge. And Kayvon Thibodeau is 18 pounds on him. So that's definitely a big reason why I think Kayvon Thibodeau and Nick Bonito are neck and neck. But other than that, Nick Bonito is a straight up better pass rusher than Kayvon Thibodeau right now. And he's the best pass rusher in the country. And he was on levels that we saw like Nick Bosa be at and Chase Young be at. Now, I think the competition they played was a little bit stronger in the Big Ten. But still, Nick Bonito was producing at a level that we've seen those guys do. And those guys were generational edge prospects. Now, I don't think Nick Bonito is that because he is 240 and he's not a very good run pass rusher. Him, and if Adam Anderson keeps it up, it's those two as a pass rusher. I think Kayvon Thibodeau is a little more raw as a pass rusher. So that's why Nick Bonito, my top edge right now in the 2022 NFL draft over Kayvon Thibodeau. Let's finish it off, guys, with our top 5. We've done videos on all of them, so we can talk about them. But number 5, Evan Neal, the offensive tackle from Alabama. At 4, Kyle Hamilton, the safety from Notre Dame. 3, Sam Howell, the quarterback from North Carolina. 2, Derek Stingley Jr., the cornerback / wide receiver this year at LSU. And at number 1, Spencer Rattler, the quarterback from Oklahoma. So before we end the video, guys, is there anyone that maybe didn't crack the top 50 that you thought you loved and was pretty upset by not making it?
I think the easy one, considering I have him 34 on my board, is Haskell Garrett, interior defensive lineman from Ohio State. Was excellent last year. Not hugely high on this interior class, but I do like him. And again, a lot of the guys I ranked on the board were kind of projections about what I think, they'll be kind of at the end of the year, maybe not right now exactly. And I think a lot of people are going to be surprised that Jake Jackson, USC edge defender, who a lot of people have very, very high in the draft community, is not in our top 50. So you can thank Max and Nick for that. I haven't ranked in my top 50. Please direct hate to their inboxes, not mine.
I will bring up a couple guys. I'm going to talk about the 2 Iowa State guys who I had 42, 43. Breece Hall and Charlie Collar, I think, are both. Obviously, Collar's not going to be tight end 1 for me. I like Biedermeier a lot, but I think he has kind of the Pat Freiermuth type of prospective ability as a second-round tight end prospect. And then Breece Hall right now is RB1 on our list. I think. Do we all have him RB1?
Yeah,
I believe so. And he's not really the modern type running back yet because I haven't used him in the passing game a whole lot, but I think the ability is there. And his technical ability in terms of vision, speed, acceleration, size, he is what you want as a running back in terms of between the tackles, running ability, and will be RB1 as long as he continues to play the way he has.
So I have a couple guys too. Jamari Sawyer, who is the offensive tackle at Georgia, who's been really good at Georgia. I think he's a guy, I think 33 on my list right now. So I like him a lot. And then another guy who I like a lot, who is a freaky player, Boye Mafe, the edge defender from Minnesota. He was number 17 on Bruce Feldman's Freaks list. He's a really good pass rusher too. I think he can move up boards a lot this year. But that's what we got for our top 50 big board. Of course, be sure to tell us where we went wrong. I know Drake Jackson is a guy that a lot of people want in the top 10, not in our top 50. And Kayvon Thibodeau maybe a little bit lower than a lot of people want. So please tell us where we went wrong. Tell us what you loved, who you would put in our top 50. Comment what video you want us to do next. Follow our Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at BoomerBustDraft. Leave a review in our podcast. Check out the website below. Hit our merch store. Of course, go to manscaped.com and use the promo code BoomerBust, all caps, no spaces, for 20% off and free shipping. So for Tate Sigworth and Nick Merriam, I'm Max Chadwick. Have a great night.